So, did you used to have flashbacks? Because I woke up like 2 nights ago, it's just sweating
Yeah.
with a flashback of the internal restlessness of that of me like of that moment before like when I thought I had like straight anesthesia, which I didn't, um but still I wanted to crawl out of my skin. Like I had a flashback of
Yep.
that and I was sweating and I was like, oh my gosh. And
Yep.
I don't know how to like extinguish that fear or because it could happen again. I'm still hyperstimulated.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well,
how do I
it won't have,
extinguish?
yeah, it won't happen again because when you contain it, you stop it. It's our out of control emotions and containment, lack of containment that causes everything to flare up. So it's our behavior that causes these huge flare ups. And that's where we have to learn to contain and be better at emotional regulation. So it's not that you'll ever go back there again. You were there in the first place because you weren't understanding what you do now. And
Yeah,
as you
I had no
contain
idea.
an emotion, yeah, well, you'll get on top of this as you work at this. And flashbacks are absolutely common because again, Amy is trying to remind you that you're in danger. So it's going to flash all these things back, especially if you're sleeping and you wake up in the middle of the night when your body's kind of fresh and had a little bit of rest. Amy just goes crazy. It's like chatting you everything you can think of about all the things you're in danger. That's why we have to say, no, no, my body's just, got a dose of adrenaline because I woke up, going to get myself down, maybe do something distracting for a while until my body settles and I'll be good again. We have to get really good at dismissing those flare ups, especially the mental ones, because it is going to happen. Amy's trying to protect
Yep.
you. Here you have to teach it. No, I don't need that protection anymore. Yeah, but it's common, super common.
Now, how do I extinguish my fear? Because I did have a similar feeling when it was probably a month ago. I went with my husband to McDonald's and we got stuck in the drive-through, which made me feel trapped.
Mm,
But it was okay. Like I contained,
yeah,
but I felt that like internal like ugh. And I'm like,
yeah,
but I stayed calm. I was like, it's okay.
good
It's
job.
fine. It's gonna pass. I'm gonna let it be here. Like my brain, my mind's like, oh my gosh, jump out of the truck. Like just all the
Hmm.
crazy stuff. I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
okay. It'll pass. And I think by the time, and then we had to wait. We had to like pull over to like wait for our food. And we got trapped at a red light. And it was definitely a test. And I'm like,
yeah,
the whole time I'm like, oh, I'm so restless. But like it passed.
yeah.
By the time we got home, which was like 10 minutes from our house, it had passed. And I was like, holy crap. I handled that really, really well. Like last year, I would have called the ambulance,
Yeah.
but it still like scares me. Like I still don't want to like feel that again. I know Marie told me to not let myself get over 70% agitation, to
Mm,
like try to live as normal as I can, but like not to exceed 70% agitation.
hmm.
And if I start getting there, then to do like one of the 6 hours that she teaches
Right.
to
Yes.
try to calm
Yeah.
that down. But
Yeah.
um
Yeah. And how you ask how you extinguish fear, you do it through experience. You do it by recognizing that, okay, I managed that. Like you just had one of those experiences where you felt uncomfortable because Amy's trying to get your attention. This is dangerous, right? And you said, no, no, just keep calm. I can do this. And as you got through it, even though you were uncomfortable, you still did it. Didn't have a panic attack. You made it. And the more times we do that, the more convinced Amy becomes that we're not in danger. So extinguishing for a lot of the deep health fears that we have, they extinguish through experience by containing, teaching ourselves we can be okay. And as the brain learns that, it becomes a non-issue in time. But don't be surprised, even if like, say a year down the road, you're doing great, feeling wonderful.
yeah.
Maybe your stress goes up and all of a sudden a flashback hits. That's just part of a learned memory. It's going to do that this week. You say, no, no, don't have to do that anymore. That's old news. Okay, I can move on. So it's reassuring, self-soothing, and building on the confidence that we gain that extinguishes the long-held fears.
Okay.
Yeah. I did
So
a
weird.
ton of that. Sorry?
I've done I've done so much. Like I should be so proud of myself. Like I've done so much. I mean I went from bedridden last year,
Hmm.
agoraphobic, driving phobia, like just a hot mess,
Yeah.
to I mean holding down a job for a while, driving on the expressway, driving to my mom's 45 minutes away, like um just all sort like I remember thinking like, oh, I can't wait till the day I can like do my makeup again, and I've been doing that, and like, but I still am like, oh, it's not good enough. Oh, but I still feel like crap.
Hmm.
Instead of it building confidence, I'm still like really hard on myself, like
Yep.
with it.
That's part of that underlying factor work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh,
Overcriticalness,
this stuff will build confidence and you'll feel better. That's why my mom's having me write everything that I do down so I can reflect on it. And I'll make videos like, hey, you did really good good today, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, Craig the critic in my head
Yep.
is
Mm-hmm.
like, you could have done better. You're still
Yep.
struggling. You're a burden to your family. Why can't you get
Yep.
it together? Why can't you heal faster?
Yeah, you bet. Oh, I get all that. Yeah, you bet. It's very similar. I changed all those belief statements so they don't bug me anymore. But yeah, I understand. I hear that a lot from our clients as well. Yeah, pretty common.
Yeah.
And that's why the underlying factor work is so important because you have to change those at the belief level before they actually come out at the behavioral level. Because you can say, general affirmations all you like, but if you don't believe it, they're not really going to help you much. So by going after the belief systems, where they developed, and why do I have them? Why do I keep them? What's healthy? And then start making change there. That's when everything else changes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how should I like proceed? Well, I guess how should I? So you're saying with the restlessness symptom, like that's just going to be me experiencing it and not flipping out
Yep.
when I have
Yep.
it, and just like extinguishing that way
Yeah.
over time. And
Yeah. So
then with, oh, go ahead.
as I say, recognize that restlessness is just an indication your body's stressed. It's got
Yeah.
hormones dumping through it, and that's what it's going to do. It does it for everybody. It's not an abnormal. It's not a sign of that things are getting worse. It's just that it's an indication that your body is overly stressed, period. And treat it as that. All right, my body's overly stressed. I just need to get my stress down. Yeah, it doesn't have to be any more difficult than that.
Okay. And then how do you build the stress tolerance? Because to me, the only acceptable feeling is calm. If I'm
Yeah,
calm, then I'm safe. If I feel calm or I feel tired, which is calm, then I'm safe. Then I'm okay.
yeah,
But if I have anger, if I have sadness, well, sadness I'm okay with. If I have, the stress hormones, fear, anxiety, any other quote unquote negative emotion, then I'm not safe. I don't feel safe
yeah.
in my body
Well,
at all.
trace that.
It's like the only acceptable,
Yep.
emotion is calm. And I think I lived in fawn or functional freeze for like the last 38 years. So I
Yep.
was pretty calm, or thought I was pretty calm for
Yep.
that amount of time because everything was just frozen.
Yep.
And so now to have all these symptoms and all these emotions, and
Yep.
it's like, holy crap.
Well, you're dealing with it now. That's the thing. You're facing it head on.
Yeah,
So I don't know your background, but I'm assuming there's some trauma in the background because you keep on
absolutely. Yep.
referring to safety. And that's so important to recognize. When we're young, we only have one measure of safety, and that's how we feel inside, right?
Yeah.
And when we experience trauma, that was violated and that put us into uncontrollable danger. And depending on the trauma we experience, some of it can be quite awful. A lot of people have experienced some horrendous thing they should have never experienced as a child. So then
Yep.
we learn that that's how life is going to be, and we approach every circumstance that way with that childhood coping mechanism. But as an adult now, we have to learn, okay, wait a minute. Uh, there's a lot of reasons I felt that way as a child, but those coping strategies don't work for me as an adult because, in fact, they're making my life hell. So I need to learn
Yeah.
different ways of coping. I need to learn to trust in different ways rather than just feeling immediately safe. And this is where boundaries again helps. Dealing with the traumatic background is extremely important because it teaches us different coping skills. It teaches us
Mhm.
understanding into why we cope the way we do today, why it's harmful today, and what is a healthy way of coping that I can still feel reasonably safe. And that affects predicting the future. It hits on so many things that people struggle with. So if you're working with Marie, I'm sure you're going to be getting to
Yeah.
the trauma background, and she's a really good one to help you because she's had a
Yeah.
tremendous, awfully background herself, and she's
Yeah.
worked through so much stuff herself. So she'd be especially helpful to you there. But you have to be
Yeah.
patient, Katie. You have a lot of
Yeah.
things to work through. You have a lot of behaviors that you're processing and digesting now. You also have a lot of unhelpful things you learn during your course of anxiety discovery.
Yeah.
And that, so just you want to be patient with yourself. It's going to take time. And your body's going to be upset till it starts to gear down. That's just a fact. So when you ask me, how am I going to build discomfort tolerance? You're doing it right now. Through this process, you'll be doing it and you'll realize I can get to the side. Now, this is also helpful as you get older because bodies start breaking down as we get older. So there's going to be some discomfort we're going to have to tolerate that is beyond our control. And we have to learn to still find joy in life despite the difficulties we face. And the more resilience we learn and build in, the better off we're going to be in our older years. So the team and I were just talking about this the other week about how anxiety recovery is beneficial when we do our underlying factor work, especially as we age, because things come up that we have to deal with that are quite concerning that we have to learn to manage. And when we have good coping skills, we manage them. Doesn't mean we're not anxious. Doesn't mean the body doesn't become stressed at times because things sometimes are really difficult. But it means that we don't struggle with anxiety disorder and our symptoms don't bug us. We just focus on the issues, cope as we get through it and get to the other side. So all the stuff you're doing right now is teaching you to do the very things that are going to make you successful in time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Patience
I
with
guess, I
yourself.
mean, laying in bed all day is not good.
Nope.
And pacing my yard all day is not good. But so I guess like where do I find that balance? And because when I start feeling really like if I get a flare up or I start feeling like really uncomfortable, I just want to run back into bed. But I know that
Yeah.
that's not teaching my brain that like, hey, I can handle these feelings. They're safe.
Yeah.
They're okay. They're just sensations. I can pick up, the living room with these sensations instead of running to bed and crawling under the covers,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
what it wants me to do.
We don't want to cower from our sensations. We want to recognize they're there because
That's
the
what I've
body's
been
stressed.
doing.
Yeah.
That's what I've been
And you
doing.
just learn to, all right, my body's stressed and I can still do a lot of things despite the symptoms. There's a lot of symptoms that we can still do a lot of things with. There's some that are pretty powerful. Like, for example, I used to have extreme dizziness. Well, that was pretty
Yeah.
tough to deal with, and so there was times to just have to go and do a deep relaxation to try to get rid of it. And sometimes I couldn't even do the deep relaxation because I was so lightheaded, I couldn't even sit still. So you cope. All right. So what did I do? I used to try to walk the best I could, despite being lightheaded and things. So we don't want to let our symptoms dictate our lives, but we do want to be mindful of the stress in our lives. So we keep that
Okay.
to a minimum and then try to
Yeah.
do as many things that you like that are pleasant to you. And the biggest thing here too for you is don't beat yourself up because you're in recovery. You're not
Okay.
avoiding. What you're doing is you're recovering. This is like telling
Yeah.
someone who broken an ankle, well, you're not playing basketball because you're avoiding. Well, no, the person's not playing basketball because they have a broken leg, so they have to recover. And the same with us. We're not avoiding, we're recovering, and there's things we just don't want to be doing so that our recovery can, move along quicker than normal. So again,
Yeah.
be gentle on yourself, give yourself grace and forgiveness, be patient with yourself. It just takes time. This isn't easy.
Okay.
It's the hardest work I ever had to do in my life, and I've been
Oh,
through a lot
yeah.
of challenges just because the body can be just a wild animal, but we can
Mm-hmm.
still do it with patience and grace and, giving the body time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I feel pressure like from my husband to get better
Mhm.
because he's
Yeah.
he's trying to hold all the bills and we can barely make it and he's working like 60 hours a week and like we're still barely making it. And so
Yeah.
like he just desperately needs my help like if I could even work like part time from home or something. Like he's not asking me to get a full-time job or anything, he understands that I'm struggling and I mean he's been here the whole time but it puts a lot on him too. So then I feel like and his mental health is going downhill. I mean, he's
Yeah.
already hyperstimulated too. So it's just like I feel like, oh, I got to get better so I can get a job or like a part-time job to help him. But then I don't like think I can hold down a part-time job because of these symptoms.
Yeah.
But then I have no structure during my day and then I just like sit around and like ruminate on how crappy I feel. So
Yeah.
except the
Yeah.
last couple of weeks, I've been like, doing more. My mom has been helping me with a structure and like gentle things. And I
Mhm.
was feeling better until like, yeah, this morning I was like, whew. But that could have been from worrying because after I do activities, I'm
Mhm.
like, oh man, is this going to make my symptoms really bad? What if it makes my restlessness come back? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I understand the hardship because I had to work. I was a sole provider during my struggles and
Yeah.
I felt a
I
lot
don't
of
know how.
pressure, but I had to get to the place to say, you know what? I have to focus on my recovery, period. I still have to
Yeah.
go to work, but I took more time off, and I took the pressure off myself by saying I have to gauge my ability to work based on the day. Because as you know, you can wake up one day and feel great, or
Yeah.
much less symptoms and feel really good, and go to bed thinking, well, I finally got this beat. You wake up the next day and it's just awful again. It's like, what the? Anyway,
Yeah.
so I had to adjust my life based on how my symptom loads were, but I didn't react to those symptoms. It's like I would wake up and think, yeah, it's just another one, a difficult day. Oh, well, I'll get through it. And so really adopt that passive acceptance approach. And passive acceptance doesn't mean, um, I know someone had mentioned this to me, saying that passive acceptance meant, I can't recall what the word it was, but it's not that we're doing something to avoid or to ignore. Passive acceptance means we're just moving to that neutral place with our thinking, so that we're not running down all the worry and distressing trails, because that is the number one reason people get stuck. It's the worry and distress, and it's unhelpful. It doesn't do anything except keep us stuck. So we know the way forward now. We know what to do. And so when we notice ourselves running down those worry trails, that's when we have to put the brakes on and say no. And we have to say no as many times as it takes. Say no, switch the channel to something else. And as we do that, the brain eventually learns that, anxiety isn't something we need to be frightened of. It's not a threat we have to run away from. It's just something we have to deal with.
Okay.